gentlemen, welcome to a special edition of the Stuck Mic AvCast. As you can see, it's a really windy day here at Lakeland Linder International Airport. Well, today we're going to talk to Denise Dull on what it takes to make a successful air show. This recording was done actually before they canceled the air show, so she's going to talk a little bit about the dates of the air show and things like that. Just remember that that's been canceled. I just want to do a quick intro here to let you guys know that that's what's going on there. And boy, check this out. This is a beautiful day to fly, except for this wind that we have here. So let's go to the interview with Denise Dull from the Florida International Airshow. FloridaAirshow.com is where you can find out more about next year's air show. Hi, my name is Carl Valerian. I'm the host of the Stuck Mic AvCast. And if you love action-packed air shows and also air shows that give back to the local community, one of my favorites out there is the Florida International Airshow. And today we have with us again on the show Denise Dull, who is the president of the Florida International Airshow and who leads an amazing team of volunteers and has really grown this show into a spectacular event and one that everybody really enjoys and truly gives back to the community. Welcome to the show, Denise.
Thank you, Carl. Thanks for having me again. I really enjoy coming.
You know, one of the things that I love about this show, and I love just in general about air shows, is they truly do give back to the community. You know, we try to give back too through our scholarships guide, and actually that's one thing I do need to mention is that our sponsor of this show actually is Stratus Finance, and they're giving away free scholarships guides, and it's only $10 for a year access, but they want everybody to have one. And to get one, all you have to do is stuckmicavcast.com/scholarships and put in the code STRATUS, and you'll get one for free. Whether you're financing your dream of flying or just trying to simplify the process by taking care of your student loans, you know, their efficient, hassle-free funding can connect you to a life of your dreams and, of course, becoming a professional pilot sooner than you ever imagined. To find out more about those loan programs, go to stratus.finance. This company actually is for pilots and by pilots. And again, they're giving away a free scholarships guide using that coupon code STRATUS. So again, stratus.finance, and you get one for free at stuckmicavcast.com/free and use that coupon code STRATUS. Let's move on to the cruise flight. Well, again, Denise Dull is joining us, and is I think it was last year that it was the first year you were the president of the show, and correct me if I'm wrong, and you did a wonderful job. Of course, we were out there doing interviews, and I just was so amazed at all the smiles that were there at the Florida International Airshow. For me, it was action-packed. There was a lot of really cool vendors there, and I learned a lot. But in your words, what is the Florida International Airshow?
The Florida, I could read it right off of our mission statement off of our website, but that would be kind of like dry and boring, I guess, right?
Right.
We are a multi-day event that hopefully promotes aviation and entertainment in the local community. We're a show in the sky, but also on the ground. So we try to provide a little bit of something for everyone, whether it's the performing entertainment or the static line, or this year we're building out a educational STEM area. So that's our area of focus this year. But we really try to get behind that awareness and promoting of aviation and the love of aviation in our community.
You know, and that's something that I really love about your show. Actually looking at how the sausage is made and realizing how much money goes out to the community. Mm-hmm. From what I can tell, it's one of the most efficient air shows out there. And by that, I mean one that much of the money that comes in is actually placed out into the hands of people that are in need in the community, locally and also at large. And I think that's absolutely terrific. And then one of the reasons I love to support the air show. And it's been growing, and it's growing for many different reasons. And we're going to get into that because today we're talking about how to run a successful air show. Mm-hmm. And I think something that I learned about the air show business in general is because, I, as a young person, I think about it in the air, right? But there's also a big part of that is the ground events too. So it's not just the air, it's also the ground, and then you have to do so much coordinating. So talk a little bit about that. That sounds like an incredible juggling act.
We have been very fortunate. Our community is a very giving community, and we do a lot of work within our network of nonprofit partnerships. Not only just with the air show, but the community in general does a lot of that cohesive networking and cooperation between each other on a number of things. So I was fortunate to have those networks in some other places, but the show has also had those relationships in place for a really long time. So we build upon those relationships for our volunteer pools. So a lot of the organizations that we work with are volunteer groups that we place in various aspects of the show. For example, our JROTCs, they take care of and are masters of garbage and parking. So they take it upon themselves to figure out the best and most efficient way to get things done, what equipment they need to use, how to plan and strategize, and get the job done every show. And they capitalize on it show after show. They tell me what they need. We go out to our equipment vendors and we make sure they have what they need for each show. Our parrot heads, they love to take care of the bar situation. Shocker. So they reach out before every show. They tell me how many folks are going to need, what kind of scheduling we can expect from them, and then if we should have to supplement, we would supplement with their groups, but we never have had to. But that being said, I also say if you have overages, here's where we need to fill in the holes. They're accommodating to help us in other areas. But it's those groups, like this year, I actually was able to reach out to the folks that help us with our setup in our Gator Wilderness Boys Camp. They come, they help us set up. They're great boys. They do it because they love to, but they get to see the show too, you know? I didn't realize it until now, but they have 20-person wagons that they use to get around their camp. I was always looking for mass wagon shuttle type services. I saw it at Sun and Fun. I'm like, I'm going to try to get them from Sun and Fun. I have them in our own backyard. So we made that deal just over lunch the other day. So it's those kind of relationships that you build upon. We've outsourced to some nonprofits. We have a nonprofit that does our water. We just did another agreement where a nonprofit's going to take on the feeding of our volunteers. And then they can either build that into a way for themselves to make profit, or we always cut back on our profits at the end of the show as donations back to those organizations when we do our reconciliations at the end of the show. So we're in it to as a community event that sponsors whoever, you know, well, we help you and you help us. It's a win-win for all the organizations involved.
It seems that there's some challenges, though, because you'd have to, and not knowing much about the airshow business, balance, you know, the budget every year and balance, you know, what you're trying to do to give away, but also be able to afford to keep putting on the show. So how do you do that? Well,
we always build in it's like those things when they teach you in finance school. You got to pay yourself first. You got to put your own mask on first before you take care of others in the aircraft, right? We do pay ourselves first. We take care of all of our bills and everything for the show we're in now first. And then we do know what we want to have in that contingency fund for our future and our future shows. And we make sure that balance is good. And looking the shows down the line, what we anticipate we need to have for the shows we want to have in those next two shows. And then we do our outlay of what we're going to take care of those groups with. So we always take care of ourselves first and then do those. Now we have to have the show we're anticipating on having today in order to do those things, which I think we're going to talk about a little later. But it's all in our planning stages, and we do in our annual retreat look at what that's going to look like for us, not just today, but down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we'll get into actually that nitty gritty a little bit later, because I think this is really fascinating, this whole air show business, and
I'm learning.
I gotta work myself into becoming a volunteer. I'm trying not to do that right now, but I know you want me to raise my hand. I'll
I
help out.
do.
And by the way, we do help out at the air
You
show.
do.
If you notice, all the Stuck
Thank you
Mike
very much
AvCast
for
folks
that.
are out there, and we love it. I mean, it's so cool, and the interviews we've got last year were just so much fun. But there's one of the things that I hear from feedback, and from other people that were wandering around the show, and viewers and online, said that they love the air show, but they also would like to see the building of more static displays. So when someone gives you that kind of feedback, how do you process that, and how do you try, if that's necessary, and you think it's necessary, to build that static display and that ability to have a larger grounds type of an event?
We heard it too, and we absolutely listened to it. You'll see when you come, you'll be a great tool for us to see if we actually did it right, because you'll see we have a much larger static presence with this show. We actually brought in a team lead in our operations line that did nothing but the static line. So we wanted it to be a priority, not just the static line, but just that more ground presence of things to do. We've always heard that it's always, parking's always been a priority for us too, but when you get them there and you park them early, what do you do for those 3 hours before you're waiting for the show? So you're there, you have the kids, there's that window. You've seen the minimal planes that we had in the past, and now the kids are like, "Mom, come on, we got to go." Like it becomes boring for your family. So we really wanted to do a better job in that area, and hopefully this year we're taking a step in that direction. We have built out a much larger static line. We have the activities going on with 2 new areas in the family aviation tent and the STEM. It's called the Innovators STEM Pavilion is the area. We partnered with some schools and high schools and colleges and programs that have that interacting that kids will enjoy, we hope, and just in that period of those 3 hours of time. So
that's really cool. And kind of let's do a little more deep dive into that, because
Sure.
I think that's exciting for the parents that are bringing their kids or families. And the STEM Pavilion, and we saw a little bit of that last year. We were able to go over there for just a little while and interview some folks. By the way, we're going to be back talking to some of those folks again and get more interviews. We heard that you wanted to hear more about that, and that's really good. And also this whole family aviation experience. So tell us what we can find and what will be available for our kids and our family.
The family aviation experience was something I actually stole from another show too. I love stealing things. When it works for another show, you just love to pick those little gems and tidbits.
Absolutely.
From Houston, actually, Wings Over Houston was Natasha and that team has a great family area. So we were learning a little bit more from them and what they were offering, and we knew that we needed a little bit more in that area to do for families. So we decided we would build a family tent and offer the family package, 2 adult tickets, 2 kids tickets at a rate that was affordable for families, and put the tent right around the kids zone at the other end of the flight line that's away from the President's Club. You know how people that are doing the President's Club don't necessarily want the kids.
Right.
So we built it up there, and then I partnered again with another nonprofit who specializes. It's Valerie's House. They specialize in kids with trauma. So it fit well with their mission of children, and they are taking it over to schedule in that area activities. So there'll be something happening all the time: face painting, arts, clowns, magicians. The performers will be scheduled in and out of there. There'll be games, things that people would need, snacks, beverages, just in that area for families.
Yeah.
And it'll be in a location that's conducive. And then it'll be on the flight line, so you'll have the viewing, a good viewing area for it as well. And you'll have all the amenities there that's close to you with the bathrooms and so forth.
You mentioned
So
that something called the President's Club. What is that?
the President's Club is our sponsorship, our sponsor tent, where that we don't typically sell tickets to that area. It comes with our sponsorship packages. And that's down at the far end of the other end of the flight line, and that's where you get all the bougie stuff, the open bar and the nice buffet. And so if you interested in our sponsorship packages, that's where you want to hang out.
So and let's talk a little bit about sponsorships, because I think this is a great show, and I think people that are looking to reach out to the community should do that. As a sponsor, who's my audience that I'll be reaching out to first of all, and how do I find out more?
We make our sponsorships extremely easy for everybody to find out information on. We think we do. I mean, it's all over our social media pages. Facebook, we try to link it as often as possible. Our website has a link at the top of our pages on a sponsorship page, so you can get information on the packages that we have available. And they range from presenting the entire show, if you have the dollars to do so and you want to, down to some very reasonable cart sponsorships and things like that come with tickets. So we have a wide gamut of pocketbook, what fits your pocketbook. And even within those, we'd say that it's just information and the detail. They're customizable if they need to be, especially the higher end dollar ones. If you're a business and you need it to fit the parameters or what you want to customize the package for, that can be done. It's there just as a starting point. But so that being said, your demographic can be whatever you need it to be. If you want to sponsor the President's Club tent because you want your demographic is the people in that tent, and it could be the folks that are there because they've bought chalets along that line that all come with those tickets, which are owners of other businesses, C-suites that work at the hospitals, and then you want to be the sponsor on that tent. And then you could also be giving away certain things in there, or doing things within that tent that you've made an arrangement to do, and that's fine. We're partnering on that. You could be the sponsor of the water for our volunteers, and that's an arrangement that shows that you're a community partner, and you care about the volunteers that work hard to do certain things, and then that shows that relationship. We have 5 companies that have partnered with us. This is their second year to put their names on the back of our volunteer T-shirts. So they get a chalet, a friends and family chalet on Sunday. They get 20 tickets to the show. They see the show because they support us in a way that helps us recognize the people that are volunteering for us, and we do that with their support. So they have their names on the back of, and we give a portion of that sponsorship dollars in a donation to the 99. So they're also supporting aviation and women in aviation. So they get to come out. We do a nice big check on Sunday, and they're all there for the picture of that too. So one I'm really proud of is we just formed this year is with the Charlotte Community Foundation. They helped us expand our reading program this year from elementary schools into middle schools, and now we are reaching more children with our Earn Your Wings reading program, and we're going from kindergarten into middle school, which is 8th grade, and those children now have an opportunity to come to the show for free if they simply read a book and do a short report back to their teachers. and they can get the Earn Your Wings certificate for free and come to the show for free. Hopefully they'll bring their parents along. They have to bring their parents along. It's that old circus mentality of having a ticket.
Right.
But those folks are the ones that you're going to get into the STEM tent and get excited about aviation and careers in aviation and do all that work too. So that expansion and the STEM tent is all due to the support and help from the Charlotte Community Foundation and the sponsorship that we brought them in with this year.
So to run a successful show, you need to have sponsors. Do you have somebody on staff? And I never asked that question. Do you know, how large is your staff and how many people do you have?
We have
and then,
no staff. It's all volunteer. So
Wow.
we are a volunteer organization, and right now we are in dire need of a director of sponsorships. We don't even have a director of sponsorships. So you're looking at the person that's got that all on their plate, along with our board. Our board, is trying really hard to bring in those sponsorship dollars too, but we would do a lot better with someone that helping us in that director of sponsorship role. We haven't had one for 2 shows now. We need one. We need a director of sponsorships.
Yeah.
It's hurting us tremendously.
So that's something that, the sponsorship, and these are challenges that many shows go through, right? And you're going through this challenge, and I'm glad you're working through it because I think it's a terrific show, and what you're doing is amazing. But while you're doing that, what happens? Like, say you lose funding, that type of thing, and how do you make up for that? I mean, it's got to be a challenge. How do you see yourself forward through this?
It is a challenge, and we did actually lose funding this year. I could say we lost it. The county could say we transitioned to a different county pool of funding, but we did lose it. What happened was the county has granted us some money, and I suggest we talked about this in one of our CCAS conferences about how shows should really look to their departments of tourism and their counties in ways that there are opportunities for funding, because typically a county will have tourism dollars or something because of the economic impact of their show. And ours last year was almost $6 million of economic impact to the county. So you can show that you have that. And there's usually some type of a grant that's available from either tourism, or there's a little work involved. You got to show that you have that impact. But you can get some, it's usually in an in-kind, but those expenses are very heavy on a show. The security when you have a jet team, the fire and EMS, the things of that nature that come with expenses, even an in-kind can really help out a show. We lost a substantial amount of funding from the county because when it was originally granted to us, it was only meant for new events coming in at a certain time period. We had switched our show from a spring show to a fall show and hit a window where we were off season. So it was available to us at that time. We had it available to us again because of COVID and some things. And then we ran out of the window of opportunity because we're back into the regular normal swing of things. So we lost the funding opportunity for us this year. From that pool, it did switch over to tourism, but because we're not a traditional sporting event, an air show is not a sporting event, and we're not some of the particular ramifications that some of those funding pools come from for marketing or advertising, we didn't fit the norm to get some of that funding. So we didn't get as much funding as we could have from the normal pool that we got. So the funding did change a bit. So I was out there putting on my thinking cap on how do I partner with other things? How do we try to help other areas maybe in tourism to try to get more money? You're forced to think outside of the box to how do you make that air show maybe be something else to get other avenues of funding. That is critical And it hurts when you don't know that 6 months before a show, or when your budgeting is already done, expecting that you're going to have it. So we're in that crunch right now. Unfortunately, it's paired with the fact that we are in a non-jet team show. So we were looking at a small revenue show that's really, really going to be affected if we don't have our ticket sales and our sponsorships, which right now we are not looking very good because we are losing sponsors. Some of our sponsors are saying, "Hey, we're gonna wait till the Blues come next year. We're gonna pay
Right.
gas on this one. We're gonna wait till next year. We need you this year. We need those dollars this year. Not that we're not gonna need you next year because our expenses are gonna be higher too, but we do need you this year too."
So from their viewpoint, I can see it. Eyeballs are eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
And they're looking for that now. As far as that's concerned, you've had to shift away from. You still have a jet team, I guess is a good way to say it, or demo.
We have a demo
coming.
team,
Yeah.
and they're great. The F-16's
Right.
having their 50th anniversary this year. They just painted their jet with an amazing pattern and color scheme. They're having this is their year. We should be celebrating 50th anniversary. So it's a wonderful time to have them. They love coming. The last time they were here. And we're advertising. We have a P-51 coming in the Heritage flight, which is a beautiful plane. We're advertising this show. We have a great marketing team doing a great push on the show. But it's just that whole next year's show is going to be so huge for us with the 12 years since the Blues have been here, that everybody is just anticipating that show.
So that is something I think every air show has to contend with, is having that anchor talent that brings in some of the large crowds.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your challenge and hopefully this will work really well what you're doing. Is get people to understand, the F-16 Viper demo team, and you can't say it's almost like the Thunderbirds, but it's not, obviously.
Right.
But there's those type of analogies you can say, hey, listen, this is F-16 just like the Thunderbirds use,
Yes.
and you try to kind of relate it to people, and I get it, that can be tough, but it's still gonna be a lot of fun. There's gonna be some really cool things out.
Yep.
Warbird Thunder, Franklin's Flying Circus. I think Randy Ball's coming back.
Yep.
We've got Patty Wagstaff, the Shears Jump team, I think, is going to be there.
Yep.
Did I miss anybody?
No, I think you hit them all. But the two you started with there, Warbird Thunder and Kyle Franklin. Warbird Thunder's never been here, so I mean that's an act that no one's seen before, and those guys are awesome. And Kyle Franklin, I mean, I don't know that if he's been here, it's been a long time, and then most people know him from his father. So it's an act that it's been a long time. It's a great act, and it's we're having a show that's more tailored to the old style air show, that people should be excited about too. It's one of those kind of old pull your car into the field and watch the air show kind of shows. And people should get excited about that kind of a show too.
Yeah, the barnstorming experience. And,
yes, exactly.
With some incredible jets.
Mm-hmm.
So that
with a couple of jets in there.
And that goes back to being that challenge of selling that. And I think, and this is what I think is so exciting for me, is to see I know you're not excited about seeing these challenges, but seeing you going through these challenges and see what happens, and also excited about the future, because it always seems like you guys keep coming back and doing a great job, and just the feedback I get from the performers is that you guys are terrific to work with.
Yeah.
And I think that says something right there, and that needs to be promoted forward. But one of the challenges, and me being a little bit closer to this air show because I have friends that are there, you have a talent pool at any air show, and I think one of the challenges going forward for you, and I know other air shows have gone through this, is that part of that talent pool is not available like it was last year. So tell us a little bit about that.
We had an amazing team on the show last year. And we had an amazing team as part of the board for a number of years. I can say that even though last year was my first year as president, We did not have a show the year before because of the runway expansion, and so I was president, I think, 2 years before that, and just working with the team that we had in preparation for the Thunderbirds show. So and then before that, I was part of the board. So we had an amazing team, and we still do. I'm not saying that we don't. Of talent and people that were experienced and knew a lot about aviation in the air and things around the airport grounds and what you need to do for the show and preparing for the show in the air. And then I had then we had a lot of people. We had a couple of folks that had some great experience with the ground logistics and the ground, and having the great experience on the show of laying the show out on the ground. This year we lost key people in both of those aspects. We lost 2 people in our key operations in the air who dealt with the FAA, filling out all of our paperwork and handling all those parts of the show that deal with all the important things. You mess up on any of that stuff, you're in big trouble. And then we lost 2 key people that handled parts of the layout and putting all the pieces together for the logistics and concessions. So I lost 4 board members that did the majority of the work for the show. So how do you pick up doing that work, having all those, and we're still moving forward, not only for this show, but I'm still trying to get ahead of the game for the big show next year and try to fill people to put in those spots while you're out there trying to find them, trying to find those people and teach those people how to do it, or teaching the new people that you did have come up to step in those spots for maybe team leads or what have you, how to do those things. It's extremely, extremely difficult. Because we didn't really have the depth on the original board to pull from the ranks to pull up. So, which we knew for a really long time. We were always trying to build the depth of the board, because we knew that there was always going to be this problem, but no one anticipated we were going to lose everybody at the same time. So
that's
everybody just kind of said, we're going to go now. And
wow.
It happened all at one time, and it's extremely difficult. I'm just happy that it happened on this show and not next year's show, because I don't know how we would have done. I don't even know how we're doing it now. We have some great people that are stepping up, and that's why I said I can't wait till November 4th, because I really can't. But if we would not have been able to do it for next year, if it was next year's show.
To get that type of talent, though, there's these organizations out there, and I'm wondering how that fits into this, like the AvCast, the International Council of Airshows, and CCAS, the Southeast Council of Airshows. How can you pull any talent from those resources, and maybe, for those of us that don't know, what is those organizations, and how can they help you?
Yeah, we could go with a promoter that would come in and do the show for us. And I don't know a whole lot I know who they are because of the conferences and so forth. I don't know too much about how that works, price wise or how it works, for the cost of it. I do know why I don't think it would work in Charlotte County or with our show. Charlotte County is a very, very handshake community. We do a lot of things by people who know people who know people who know people. And if you have to bring in somebody if I had to tell my sponsor that I've known for 10 years that they got to write a check to the guy over in Texas who's going to do and I don't know, maybe it doesn't work that way, I don't know. It would be hard. It would be difficult. And we've thought about it. We have thought about it for a couple of years now. And we just can't get over that hump of it. if of not being able to get past the all that we're doing it here ourselves, and it's our community that's doing the work, and all the things that we've done. I can't lie and say that it might not be down the road, that we might have to if we don't figure this out. But it would be hard for us to do that just because of those reasons. But you know what? There are some great people. It's just taking us a little longer, I think, than we thought it would. There's some great teams being built right now, that I think we're going to have some good pull from. And we do have some folks that are going to come back, I hope. I don't know. But you get burnt out. It's one of those kind of things where if we had a jet team every year, I don't know how those shows do it. I really don't. Other than having paid staff year round.
Well, that would be it. And that was kind of one of the things I was going to ask next is, do you ever see yourself transitioning to that?
We have to. If we are working too hard to have the quality of a show that we're having right now, if we want to sustain it and keep that quality of a show, we'll have to go to a paid staff, because we'll lose it. And I don't think anybody wants to. I think they want to continue to build a better show. We want to build a show that the community has educational resources for and supports its aviation and mechanics schools and the tech programs and those things that are here, and become a better partner in those kind of things. And to do that, we can't do it without have paid staff. So I think absolutely down the road, we absolutely will. Yeah.
And it's going to be exciting to see this transition. Like I said, I think there's a lot of people watching and to see what happens here, because it's too good of an air show to let go. That's for sure. And I think it will have some different changes in the future that will help you sustain this air show. What those are, again, this is the challenges that you're meeting right now. And hats off to you for doing that and stepping up to do this. But it's shocking to hear that such a large air show actually is totally run by volunteers. And we hear about all these other shows that have their volunteers, but I mean, this is actually the management that's volunteering to do this, not just the volunteers parking cars. We're talking everybody, which is pretty amazing, especially for something this size. And speaking of which, can we talk numbers a little bit? I mean, do you have the numbers from last year about how many people came last year?
We, you have to do your reports and stuff for the Thunderbirds and everything. I want to say we've reported 25,000 for the weekend.
Wow. Yeah, that's a
big one for us. Yeah. That might have been the biggest one we had. Now we're anticipating that's going to be bigger next year. So
that's good to hear, because again, the more people on the gate, the more these programs can be funded, and the more you can help, especially some of the local charities. And I think that's the big message. I think all those air shows, and your show in particular, can get out there, is the fact that you truly are helping people in the community. I mean, give us some examples of some of the people that have a direct impact.
I mean,
from this.
Because everybody's always like, you guys make a bunch of money on that show, don't you? And then you look at the bottom line. Our financials are out there. People can see it. It's public knowledge. I think on last year's show, I don't think we made more than, it was a little over 100,000. I think once after everything's all said and done. That's not a lot for a show that I just said you had 25,000 people at. It costs a lot to do a show. But over the 43 years, this will be the 43rd show. So that last year was the 43rd. So this will be 40. We did 3.6 million back into the community for direct donations to nonprofits. So, obviously on a show like this year, we're not expecting that we're going to be able to do too much, but it still depends on that profit line. Who knows? We'd hate to say that we won't be able to donate anything, because that wouldn't make us look too good. It's budgeted in there, but you never know. In a bigger year, we always try to do a little bit more, but it's always in our planning and our strategic plan on how we can do more for the community. I had a discussion with our vending director the other day. How can I make sure that the partners that are there in our vending tents, like we have animal, I like to concentrate on the veterans because it's a military type operation, but we do have like Animal Welfare League at Valerie's house and some of the other folks. But I want to do a better job of talking to them. Honor Flight is another one. And understanding, what did you get while you were there? How many people did you talk to? What did they do? And how we can equate that back to an impact, so that I can provide an economic impact synopsis in the same way. While these people were here, they did this. They signed up. Valerie's house sold 10 tickets through connections they sold here to their soiree or whatever, so that I can prove that our connection created additional impact. I call it the ripple effect, right? You throw your pebble in my pond at my show or our show, but it created this ripple of all this other stuff in the community. So what do we do by bringing the people to your tent or your table to help you do all those other things? And I want us to be able to show that in some way out into the community, so that we can act. It's not just about the $6 million. It's about those other things too.
Absolutely, and that's where you fill other people's buckets, and that's a
Right.
big part of what we're doing here. So, boy, if you're somebody who's looking to go in and watch an air show, and you know that this money is going to go towards helping the community in some amazing causes, that's going to motivate you to go no matter what. Of course, you want to be entertained,
Yeah.
but the other thing is the fact that you truly are helping the community, and I think that's terrific. I think the things that excite me is the fact that we are growing the ground events, where all the things for the kids, and that keeps growing, and that's terrific. I do know there's a lot of challenges that are happening now, but the fact that this air show is one of the, as far as was it USA Today, is one of the top 10 air shows out there, and especially for entertainment and giving back to the community, and that's not a small feat. That's pretty amazing.
We were surprised about that nomination. That was Patty Wagstaff nominated us on that, and we were really surprised about that, and humbled by it, because there are some big, major, heavy hitters in that group, in the top 10, and rightly so, well deserving. We, every day I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're still in there. I'm thinking we're not even going to be in the 10 when it's all said and done, and to stay in the top 10 and to be, I was just flabbergasted. But it's just a testament to the team, really, that everybody loves doing a good job, and to see that it's appreciated at the end of the day. It's all about making sure that everybody that walks through that gate has a good experience. And when they don't have a good experience, we talk about it. I'll tell you, we talk about it at the end of the day. Saturday, we had a problem with parking. We knew it. We were in it. No one left there. The board went into a meeting. We sat in the dark because there weren't any lights, to try to figure out how to correct it for Sunday, because we didn't want to have the same experience for the people on Sunday. We take everything personally and problem solve it, and to try to make it better. It's something that's very personal, and we, it's not something we take lightly, the problems that get brought to our attention. So having a good show we take pride in it, and it's nice to see when those kind of things come out, and not everything's a bad comment. I take the bad comments personally too.
Yeah, I think we all do, right? But there's so many good comments out there, and those are the things I like to
I don't
focus
see
on.
those though. I'm only
I know that's and we're kind of that way as humans, right?
Yeah.
But as far as the show is concerned, I know we don't have a lot more to go here. I just want to make sure we get everything in. The show is on 2024, November 2nd and 3rd. And what's the best website for them to go and find out more about the show?
FloridaAirshow.com.
FloridaAirshow.com. And that's actually one of the things that I think is terrific is that everything's out there if you're looking to sponsor. The other cool thing is there's many levels of sponsorship. And if you want to get tickets, you can go out there and look up how much it is and purchase tickets in advance. But we also, the one thing that I think that's really cool is that we also realize when we're going there, we're giving back. We're not just being entertained, but we're giving back to society. And I'm very happy that you're still here helping out with this, and hopefully to see you in the future because you're someone that doesn't give up. And a lot of people don't realize you're involved in a lot of other charities. You're involved in CCAS. You're the vice president of the Southeast Conference of Airshows, which is part of AvCast, and just so many different things you do. I don't know if you ever get any sleep.
I'm sleeping a lot less these days, let me tell you that. My 9-to-5 job is affordable housing and building housing for veterans. So that's not an easy topic in Southwest Florida either. So
no, absolutely not.
I try to get a little bit of sleep.
Well, Denise, it's been great having you here and talking again about this, especially before the show. And of course, for those that are going to want to listen to the show or see the show, we're going to have some video and audio that we're going to do. And we're going to put that out there as far as on the internet, on the YouTube channel, and also within all the different podcatchers. And we will be on the grounds there with the same crew. I think Leslie Cobble might be coming this year. Tom Frick will be there. Some of the other crew from the Stuck Mike AvCast. Also, we'll have Matt Len, who's our production coordinator, who you know from the air show there. And he'll be helping out somewhat. Of course, Matt has kind of moved on to a career in aviation himself. He's a flight instructor in Punta Gorda, right there at the airport.
He is.
So he'll have lots of time because he can't fly during the show, so he has
cannot,
to volunteer.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
But unless the school has their flight on the flight line, their school's on the flight line, then he might be over there.
that may be true, and that's but either way, just make sure you reach out and come say hi to us. We'll all be in the shirts of Stuck Mike AvCast, and we'd love to have you come by and do an interview. I know you're always running around.
I will.
But it's easy to reach out to you folks. FloridaAirshow.com. And it's really one of the shows that I think is one of the premier shows in Florida. Lots of fun. It's very relatable. It's also something that's very family friendly, and I love the fact that you're doing more for STEM and for the community. One of the things that for me personally was my favorite part of the show. I see a lot of air shows, and those are really cool. But it's all the different vendors that were there that actually were involved in many different nonprofits to help veterans and in many different ways, whether it's through helping them out with their service animals or helping them out, obtain flights to go see the memorials in Washington, D.C., and obtain housing. I mean, there's just things I never even thought of that are out there. And also ROTC is out there, and you have all these different recruiters out there if you want to learn more about the military. So there's so much that was happening there. I highly recommend you go check those out. Well, Denise, this has been awesome. Thanks for coming by, and we can't wait to be there and be part of the show.
Yeah, thank you. I've looked forward to are you coming in on Thursday?
I think it's Thursday or even Wednesday, actually. I'll probably be there early.
Wearing a good costume and get ready to trick or treat.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It'll be fun. Yes. I'm going to dress up as an airline pilot. No, I'm not going to do that.
I'm sure you won't be the only one.
No, absolutely not. Well, again, I really appreciate this. FloridaAirshow.com. You can find out more on their website as far as the talent that'll be there. It's a blast. We had a great time. And I love the fact that it's very viewable from just about everywhere within the show grounds, and there's so many cool things to do while you're there. But most importantly, after the show is don't stop there. Go out and check out some of the things that are out there as far as the Florida International Airshow, and see some of those vendors out there, how you might be able to help out with Honor Flight or some of those different charities that even if you're not coming, just check those out, because that's the purpose of this, is to help move aviation forward and also help our veterans and help those in the local community. And we appreciate everything that Denise does, but also the huge team that's part of this air show. Well, we'll talk to you next episode. Safe flying out there.